Okay, recording this video on Thursday, the 12th of December 2019. Do hope you are doing well. So it's just gone 7 a.m. Chicago time, a little bit late in the day to be recording this video, but wanted to talk about China and the emerging markets. But just getting to the charts just quickly, I've just come back from a week in the UK. Really interesting times because we got the general election happening today. So there was nothing but wall-to-wall coverage of the UK general election. Conservatives versus Labour versus, the Liberal Democrats and the Scottish National Party and so on. Really interesting stuff going on. Everybody makes kind of missteps. I think there's some interesting characters this time around with Jeremy Corbyn, head of Labour, Joe Swinson, head of Liberal Dems, and Boris Johnson, head of the Conservative Party, all kind of made their share of gaffes, as you'd expect, being under the media microscope for 24 hours a day. What's going to happen? I have a sneaking suspicion the Conservatives are kind of come out with a stonking majority and blow everybody away. I kind of think that's what's going to happen, but we'll see. Need to talk about just quickly the British pound, because I had a video about 2 weeks ago on the British pound, and so I'll just revisit that very quickly at the end of this video. But anyway, that's enough about that. Let's talk about China. China has been the tail that's been wagging the dog for the last 6 months in the stock market. Every time there's a little bit of good news, the market goes up. The stock market, the US stock market goes up. China market goes up. Every time there's a little bit of bad news, the market kind of sells off. And it's not as if there's plenty of good news going forward. It's not like we've signed an agreement or even signed part one of an agreement. But the chart is showing that it's seemingly, kind of the coast is clear and we're setting up for a breakout in China chart and the emerging markets. And let's see if the kind of equities, US equities, kind of follow along. Let's look at the chart. This is MCHI, which is kind of the best ETF to follow for the broad Chinese market. And the usual setup on the left-hand side, we've got better Pro-Am and better Momentum, which are the volume-based and average trade size-based indicators. On the right-hand side, we've got better Sine Wave, which is the cyclical pricing analysis that we do. And we measure uptrends and downtrends. Downtrends are in white, uptrends are in red. And when we've got confirmation on the two charts, we've got the background painted grey or red for an uptrend. And you can see that at the beginning of 2019 we had this huge sell-off that led to a bottom being made kind of down here. All the blue professional bars kind of coming in at the lows. A huge exhaustion selling activity here, blue professional down bars. That means that the professionals are picking it up at the lows, as they were selling the highs kind of down here in the retrace here. So we've come into that level a couple of times. We've tested in, but never really kind of broken through it. So that's kind of held. This exhaustion buying activity is almost short covering rally. As soon as we got kind of above this level here, kind of tripped us into an uptrend, but that was people kind of getting out of their short positions because the market had seemingly bottomed. So now what we've been doing is putting in a lot of time basing, putting in the bottom. You can see we've been breaking into confirmed uptrends a few times, but each time they fail, we come back down, we fail, and so on. But now we've got ourselves a consistent kind of period of uptrending activity where we're breaking resistance levels to the upside, and we're about to break resistance on the intermediate time frame here, which is sitting at 61 on the MCHI chart. So a break above that would finally give us kind of clear sailing for this thing to kind of get going fairly quickly to the upside. Obviously getting through this next kind of pivot high up here at 65, 66 would be kind of key area to kind of get through. But we've got this good activity where we've been basing and now breaking up through resistances, and now the supports are holding and we're starting to get above this important level at 61, 62. So MCHI is interesting, and a couple of ways to play it. If you're going to buy MCHI, which is an ETF based on the Chinese market, that's one way of playing. If you're super game, risky as hell, is holding a position in Yin, YINN, which is the triple leveraged ETF. This you can see we bottomed at 15 on Blue professional bars kind of coming in here, exhaustion sell going on, and we've just been kind of basing 15 to 20, bang, bang, bang. Less and less selling going on. You can see with better momentum making smaller little kind of drops down here. Last one had a minor bullish momentum signal kind of going. It is not signaled necessarily into an uptrend here, but we've got cyclical support in the highest time frame in down here at this 15 level, and so a break up above 20 would be kind of a sign that this thing's kind of going to make some legs. But anyway, you look at the original chart, the one that has the most kind of trading volume. It'll take your signals, and then you make your play in the particular vehicle that you want to do to follow the market. So I'm not concerned about this chart. This is the chart I'm looking at, and that would be where I'd take the position. Now, because China is the biggest component of the emerging markets kind of sector, so EEM is the ETF that follows all the emerging markets, but as I said, the largest component is China. This EEM chart actually looks very similar to the China chart. So we had that exhaustion sell kind of down here, having had our exhaustion buy, and then blue professional bars kind of on this selling it down and taking a position short on the retrace here. They've kind of picked it up down here when it bottomed at 38, and again we've just been basing. So the chart looks almost identical to the China chart, and we're breaking out through 43s here. But China isn't the only kind of play here, and there are some other opportunities kind of going on. I'll just quickly go to some of the other emerging market components of EEM. One is Russia, RSX again. China and Russia, not kind of favorites on the world stage kind of right now, but in terms of an opportunity to jump in, I think they're kind of interesting. So this is breaking out to new highs, RSX. I was kind of enamored of RSX a couple of years ago, and I was in and out of RSX and liked that a lot. And then my last trade was a losing trade on RSX, and I kind of have been a little bit gun shy ever since. But you can see it's kind of interesting strength breaking out again above another intermediate time frame resistance up here at 25. Another component of it is India. INDA is the ETF here. Again, I think this is really interesting. After the Indian general election, I don't know, a couple of months ago, a lot of things kind of came clear, and kind of pro-market type reforms that they're hoping to make. I don't really follow India all that closely, although I think I should be following a lot more closely, because I think in the next decade or two it is going to be the most interesting market to watch. But anyway, so we had profit taking up here at 38, and then the professionals came back in at 28, kind of down here. We had a false breakout with a Rambo pattern here, tested back into this, and it's showing strength right now. So we're above better pro-am, and we've got cyclical strength here. We're above resistance, support on at the highest time frame here. Red bars showing strength and uptrend in INDA. Another interesting one, Indonesia. So this is EIDO. Again, exhaustion sell down here at 21. We come back in, blue professional bars pick up the dip. We never look back to this 22 level, kind of test in, amateur down bars here, and then showing some hold at the moment. And although the bars at the moment are white and showing some weakness there, we just need to break above a resistance. We've actually got a kind of a triple support just set up a few days ago here. We need to break above this resistance, just sitting above 25. That'd break us into an uptrend on this chart as well. And then Philippines, another kind of interesting EPHE, another interesting market on the emerging market side. So blue professional bars pick up the low after exhaustion selling. The professionals come here at this low at 32, pick it up here. Going through a little bit of a test at the moment, and all we need to do is start breaking some resistances on the lowest time frame, and that'll trip us into an uptrend here. Again, cyclical support on the highest time frame, like always working with the cyclical support, cyclical resistance on the highest time frame. Kind of go with that when that's sitting there. And South Africa. So EZA for South Africa. Again here, blue professional bars came in with exhaustion sell kind of down here at the 48s, 49s kind of level. Nothing but problems and bad news that came out of news from South Africa last year. But the last time around, all these Rambo patterns here, weak selling back into 48, 49s kind of down here, and we're just basing at the moment, and a nice little day yesterday, and better momentum is starting to look up, and you can see here cyclical support on the highest time frame, broken into some strength here. We just need, it was actually a triple going on here, triple support on all 3 time frames. Let me just bump that up, bang, bang, bang. And, you know, if this kind of takes off above 50, above 52, that'll give us kind of confirmed upside break. So there we go. Interesting charts on emerging markets. China's the biggest kind of component of that, but there's a few charts that are looking interesting kind of going forward. And then what are we doing? British pound. Yeah, so British pound a couple of weeks ago put out a video at this point here at 130. I was thinking, maybe it'll roll over, we'll test the lows. No, did not break the support at this point at 129. We didn't kind of trigger back into resistance, into weakness, and all we had was continue up to another resistance and kind of break through there. So continued support kind of going forward. Although we got this cyclical turn due at some point, it is not happened with that turn. I was jumping in way too early, potentially with kind of Conservatives winning overnight in the UK. I think the pound could get a little bit of a jump. Equally so, if we end up with a hung parliament where it's less clear as to what the future is going to be, the pound will sell off. So let's see where that cyclical resistance kind of comes into play. Don't know, we'll see. Lastly, coffee. Coffee has been an excellent little runner for us. Put this video out quite a long time ago, back in November, 1st November I think it was, kind of back here when we hit 105 in coffee, and I said coffee is breaking out to the upside, and we've been waiting and waiting. $100 was key for coffee into these lows. Blue professional bars pick it up here, test with kind of a low volume kind of test kind of down here, and we kind of take off to the upside, and we've had a super run in coffee. That's been great. Short covering rally with this exhaustion pattern. We're about to put in over the next couple of days an exhaustion pattern on coffee here as we come back up to this kind of area where previously, so what's that level? That is 144. So above 140 or around 140 kind of there, we could find it a little bit difficult to kind of get through because of that pivot high here. We blasted through this last one at 120, but we're looking at 140 and we're starting to show exhaustion on better momentum here. So a possible area of profit taking for coffee. No blue professional bars yet. I don't want to kind of call it kind of too early, but it's getting a little bit overcooked here on coffee. And you can see it will all set up because of cyclical patterns down here. Pullback to end of trend on the highest time frame, cyclical support on the intermediate time frame, broke into uptrend, confirmed uptrend, bang. That's been a nice little runner. So apologies if I've been talking too quickly. That was quite a few charts to get through on this video. See how the election in the UK goes, and good luck with your E-mini trading.